Okay, today I want to review the Kings County Empire Series boxing gloves in 16 ounce. Empire Series boxing gloves are different than the classic horsehair glove. This company is based out of Brooklyn, New York since 1998 by Joe's Boxing, where you can actually acquire these gloves. Very, very good glove. These gloves, I wanted to get these specifically because of the quality of the glove. You don't really see much of this quality when it comes to a glove, especially if they're, a lot of them are made in Pakistan now. These gloves are also made in Pakistan, but they have a definite difference in quality. And I'll say that because of the welted seams. I'll say that because the stitching is pretty ridiculously on point. I'll say that because the Turkish leather, that's one thing I really want to talk about here, is that this leather is different. It feels durable, but it's very smooth. Very smooth. Sometimes you get leather and the leather is kind of grainy, will have different texture to it, which is fine for a glove. But you do get that that feel that there is texture to those other gloves. But this glove right here, very soft, very supple. One of my favorite things about the glove is basically when it comes to the description of the glove, they call it Prospect Park, right? Prospect Park olive. It's an olive color, but Prospect Park is based out of a place in New York, Brooklyn, New York. And he makes his colorways, and the colorways essentially are colorways that take months of mixing to get to the specific colorway that you're looking for. I think that's really impressive, and it's probably one of the biggest things that sell me to this glove, because I just believe the colorway of this glove is unique. Most gloves out there, you're going to see that they're going to have a bunch of the same color, right? It's going to be white, red, blue, black, and that's kind of like the standard colorways of a lot of these gloves. This is very unique, and I love the fact that they take a long time making sure they get a specific color that's extremely unique. This is kind of like an olive color in my opinion, but it's not a color you usually see in boxing gloves. Not anymore. This kind of style gives me that old school, in the old school gym style. That's kind of what I see. When you smell the glove itself, it smells like a high quality handbag. It's a very, 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 very beautiful glove. I have no bad things to say about in terms of the aesthetics of the glove. There's nothing wrong with the glove. We have a single cuff here, a long single cuff. I know the original model that they did had a plastic cuff. That's fine. I actually like this cuff. I have no problem with this. I don't mind the plastic cuff either, only because the patch kind of gives you this, and that's okay. But I don't mind plastic cuffs. I know some people do because of the fact that they have to tape their gloves when they're sparring. You could tape this and it'll be a lot better, but I don't mind the plastic, but this is great too. Also, I got these in 16 ounces. When I did weigh them, they're pretty close to 16. I think one's like 15.9, the other one's 15.8, which is pretty solid when it comes to weighing gloves and getting a specific number. That's really close to 16 when I weigh them. I have a lot of gloves that are in crazy differences in terms of glove weight. I have a pair of Grant gloves that are 12 ounce, but they're actually 15 ounce when I weighed them. So having training gloves to be, the right ounce, especially if you're going to spar with them, you want your sparring partners that, you trust your sparring partners, because there's some gloves out there that they'll give you a glove and it says 16 ounces, but it's really closer to 13 ounces. So the fact that this is on point is definitely a good sparring glove. The foam in the glove, it says it comes from an imported layer of latex. I don't know where the latex actually comes from. And also it says that it's a multi-layer, and the other multi-layer portion of the foam is a Japanese tech foam. Now, when you first get the gloves, I think the one thing I noticed was they're very stiff. Even now, they're kind of medium to stiff, medium to firm. You have to break them in. You have to break them in. And I haven't even fully broken them in yet. Not yet. So just keep that in mind when you have these gloves, especially, and that's not a bad thing, because when you have gloves that have foam that is essentially a little harder, you start to notice that those gloves last longer. They're more durable. You have to break them in, and the longevity of those gloves are a lot more than certain gloves that come very soft off the bat. And I think that's a good thing. You know, you kind of got to grow with the glove, and this is probably a perfect glove to grow with. When it comes to the grip bar, I would say it's soft. It's a squishy grip bar. I wish it was a little bigger, and I wish the bar was a little firmer. But it's not bad. You can still feel it when you put your hand wraps on and everything like that. You get the ventilated holes, 4 up top, and I think you have about 4 on the thumb here. Same on this side as well. These laces, underrated here, are super long. I love ridiculously long laces. I don't know why people don't normally do it like this. I see so many gloves out there and they do not have these long laces. When it comes to the ounces, I love that it's here. It gives you a better look of it. Sometimes you'll see like a little bit of a tag there that shows the ounce. This liner is very comfortable. It's kind of like a black soft liner. It's not that cooling, but it's very, very, very comfortable. In terms of sweating in the glove, you probably sweat a little bit, but nothing crazy. Once you put your hands in the glove, you'll feel that there's kind of like a rolled up piece where the stitching is supposed to be, so it's very comfortable on the fingertip. I wouldn't say it's a secondary grip bar. I would say it's more of it's kind of a rolled up piece of comfortable leather. The inside is nice. The thumb has a lot of space in the thumb. I don't mind that at all. There's no pinching on the thumb, which is great. I know the second stitch is better because the first stitch, I guess there was complaints about the thumb, but I had no complaints at all. When it comes to the pop and feedback of the glove, this is something that I think you have to expect when you're dealing with a foam glove or a glove that looks like it's specifically kind of made for sparring. It's all around training glove. So it's not going to have the feedback of a horsehair glove or something like that, or a very, very soft latex glove. It's going to have feedback, but not that much. It's going to be, as you can hear it. So it has good pop to it. They're extremely protective. I think that's my biggest takeaway here, is that you can wail on this gloves and ultimately you do not feel it on your hands. So if you're into an extremely protective glove, it's very vintage feel, you know, leather, unbelievable. The quality, unbelievable. A glove that's going to last, buy this glove. You know, they have other colorways as well. And the other colorways are just as unique. They have, you know, obviously Velcro. I always go with laces, but they have Velcro if you're into the Velcro. So I have nothing really bad to say about the glove. Yeah, I guess maybe this. Sometimes I feel like that might scratch someone if you're sparring with them, but you could tape this down, so it's not a big deal. So ultimately, I think it's a pretty well-made glove. I think they did an amazing job with it. And I think if you want quality, you got it. It's right here. So congratulations on that.